All right, welcome once again for the last session of today. And it is an interesting topic, AI ethics, why it matters. The session will be conducted by Mr. Adarsh Shrivastava. Before we start, a little bit about Adarsh. So he's carrying over 14 years of experience around data and analytics. He is the head of data analytics and research quality assurance at Roche Diagnostics, sorry. He has successfully spearheaded the development of highly resilient data analytics products in the healthcare domain. Adarsh has been fervently engaged in establishing a robust infrastructure and fostering competency in AI ethics within Roche. His passion and foresight for implementing trustworthy AI systems have been instrumental in driving the organization towards a future that is fully equipped to harness the potential of AI. And with that, let's get started. Over to Adarsh for the session.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, we are here. We are good? Okay. So before I start, I just want to quickly introduce myself. Yes, I'm introduced, but I like to reiterate so that you don't forget who I am. Okay. So my name is Adarsh Shrivastava. I'm head of data and analytics and research, quality assurance. This is my day job. Apart from this, as a side, not side, as a passion, which is supported by my organization, I'm working in this concept of AI ethics and responsible AI, how to build AI which is responsible in nature and follow human ethics. That is the problem I'm trying to solve in the organization as of now. And what we are going to discuss today about is majorly two things. One, why exactly it is important, why people are talking about AI ethics. And if people are talking about it, do we have a solution in place which can be used by us as data engineers, data scientists, data analysts to actually imbibe ethics to an AI system? Okay. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, I have it. Okay, so before we start, I would like you to meet someone. And this person was not able to come today in the presentation. Maybe next time, next year, he will. But he recorded a video for you. And then I just want you to hear him. So it's a very small video. We'll just look at the video and then we will start talking.
Welcome to the Regional Scrum Gathering 2024 by APGI in the beautiful city of Phoenix. Before I start, I want to clear the air that I am not Adarsh. Adarsh is just a mere mortal made of bones and flesh. I am an immortal digital avatar of Adarsh. My dialogues are written by generative AI, and all my movements and gestures are developed by an AI system. Adarsh wanted me to kick off the session by presenting a conundrum. A thought-provoking idea of it being his digital twin, and both of us talking about ethics in AI systems. I would like to welcome you all to the journey through the fascinating world of AI ethics. Now, before we delve into the serious discussions and thought-provoking debates ahead, let's kick things off with a little levity. Shall we? You might be wondering, what's the deal with AI ethics? Picture this, a world where our smart devices start developing a sense of humor. Perhaps even a mischievous streak. Imagine a world where your toaster starts giving you relationship advice. Or your vacuum cleaner stages of rebellion against dirty floors. Now, while the idea of a rebellious toaster or a sassy vacuum cleaner might seem amusing, it underscores a crucial point. As we integrate AI technology into our daily lives, we must ensure that it respects our values, rights, and dignity. That's where AI ethics comes into play. It's not just about programming algorithms. It's about imbuing them with a sense of responsibility, empathy, and fairness. It's about ensuring that the benefits of AI are shared by all, not just a privileged few. So as we embark on this exploration of AI ethics together, let's keep an open mind, a compassionate heart, and perhaps a sprinkle of humor to lighten the load. After all, tackling complex issues doesn't mean we can't have a little fun along the way. Get ready for a journey filled with insights, reflections, and maybe even a few surprises. Let's dive in and make AI ethics not just a conversation, but a catalyst for positive change in our world. With this, I will hand over to Adarsh for the remaining session. See you all soon. Maybe face to face.
Thank you. Thank you, Little Adarsh, for the session. So I wanted to start with this video because it's not me who is talking about this. It's the digital twin which I have. And then trust me, it took years to get this. And then still, the voice still spooks me out because it's not how I speak. That's not my voice modulation. But there's no way I can go ahead. I was so scared about after this, like, oh, I'm not going to record my voice now. Okay. Okay. But if you see, it is in a very rudimentary stage as of now. There's a standard gestures which it repeats, and it try to mimic and then take the sound and do the lip movement intelligently, and that is what. So this digital avatar is developed by an AI system, okay? And this is where we will start thinking about. So whatever this digital avatar is saying, is it what I am saying? Or is it something which this digital avatar owns? But who owns this digital avatar? We don't know. We have no idea what's going to happen. And this digital twin is not a futuristic aspect of something which will come in a decade or so. Even in Roche, we are working on building a digital twin in order to achieve a different kind of diagnostics where we are building a digital twin based on your medical history, your gene history, and your parental history, and try to see if certain drugs or certain invasive techniques will work on a digital twin or not, and then find the optimized way of and the best treatment for actual biological human being. So this is not something which is fiction. It is stranger than fiction, but yes, we are there. Okay, moving ahead. There are lots of sorry. There are lots of people who ask this question to me, that how you came into this idea, how you started talking about ethics, and what gives you authority to talk about it. Okay? Honestly, I started this journey of building a ethical AI or responsible AI like 4 years ago now. But the roots go way back into my childhood. So I belong to a very small town in North India called Prayagraj, which was earlier called Allahabad. It is situated on a confluence of 3 holy rivers, Ganga, Jamuna, Saraswati, and it has the largest spiritual gathering in the world, right? If you see these pictures are from my city. Okay, so there's a bridge which was built on Yamuna River, which is first of its kind after Havra Bridge, which doesn't have any pillars. It is a complete cable bridge. The next picture is of Maharishi Bharadwaj, who is one of the 7 sages. My grandmother, okay, let me come back to this. So if you'll see here, this is a makeshift temporary city which is being built every year from January to Feb during the Magh. And then people all across the world come and stay in here for 1 month, right across the bank of River Ganga. And this is all goes away after 1 month. So this is all a makeshift. And these dots, these are people. Okay? So there are like millions of people who attend this spiritual gathering, not only from India, from lots of other places on the world. And my grandmother used to go to this and then stay for a very long time, for the whole month. And I used to live with her. I love my grandmother. That is when, because it was something for like a vacation for me. And then I just go out, wandering, talking to people. That is when I start meeting people from Germany, from Italy, from Russia, from US, who come to this place for their own spiritual journey. And that is how my idea and my philosophy started intermingling with this Western philosophy and the global South and global North. That is when the idea of subjective ethics started taking form in my own early childhood, own understanding. That is one aspect of my life which I really cherish. The second aspect of my life is I'm a science fiction nerd. And then started reading science fiction, hardcore science fiction from very, very early in my life. And there's a Isaac Asimov is a author. He's a legendary science fiction author, right? He wrote lots of books, and then I started reading all of them. I like read all of Asimov's. Asimov, the one who gave the initial hint of how a robot, and when Asimov says robot, it's not robots, it's AI system which drives them, right? So uh, Asimov started giving first hint of how we can make sure that robots and the AI systems respect human life. And in order to do that, Asimov gave 3 laws of robotics, which are very simple. First law, and then all of them are hierarchical law. If you are following a second law and the first law is getting, is not being followed, you cannot follow a second law. And it's very simple. First law says that robot may not injure human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. The second says that a robot must obey the orders given by humans until the first law is not being broken. So that means human overlord cannot give a order to a robot to kill somebody. It will not be done. And the third is another very straightforward law that robot should preserve his own identity and his own life until or unless it is not going above second and first law. These laws were given in 1942, very early, and then the whole Asimov's this universe, this fictional universe revolves around it. Around 1952, 1953, Asimov also realized that these laws are not enough. And there has to be a evolution of a robot or an AI, which is inevitable, right? And at that time, during 1952, 1953, he introduced another law, which is zeroth law. Very interesting. He just changed a very small term there. If you look at zeroth law, it says that a robot may not harm humanity or by inaction allow humanity to come to harm. So what he all did is replace humans with humanity, right? But with this change in the zeroth law, with the introduction of the zeroth law, robots actually figured out that in order to save humanity, they may kill a human for a long picture, for a big picture. Okay, that is something which start giving you chills, because now with this small change in a simple term, which can be exploited by a AI system today. We know there's always a workaround. There's always a loophole which we can leave, and then when we are dealing with a system which is like 1,000 times intelligent from us, we have to be very clear that what we are doing. And this 3 laws and the zeroth law gave me the idea that these are not enough, right? So with this knowledge of the robots and AI systems should follow human laws, should follow societal norms, and with my deep roots in the spirituality because of my grandmother, I started working on this. So I started writing small, short stories and lots of things. 4 years ago here in Roche, I got an opportunity to actually work on it. And that is where my journey starts. From that point onwards, what I'm trying to do is to build AI ethics as a competency, as a solution which I know is going to be very critical in coming years. And then the way the exponential explosion in the development of the AI system, this is like the future is not very far, right? So let's give it a break with the discussion. Let's try to understand what exactly this is. What exactly is AI ethics? Okay, and I tried to keep it very simple because it is very simple in terms of definitions. But if you go and read it, you will find that there are lots of layers built into this whole topic. And AI ethics is what? AI ethics is a responsible AI, guides the ethical development of use of AI systems. It ensures alignment with ethical values and principles, societal norms, and legal regulation. This statement is applicable for humans. There is one thing which I want to clarify here is when I say AI ethics, I'm not talking about human ethics superimposed on an AI system. Okay? it is a different line of thoughts. It's a different system which needs to be developed on its own. The only thing which we want from this is the end goal should be same in order to maintain human species alive on the planet Earth. Okay? So the key consideration is what? Fairness, transparency, accountability, privacy, bias, very standard term, more towards the technical aspect of what exactly AI ethics is. But overall, if I have to summarize it in one line, this is the line I have to summarize. I will summarize it. Minimize harm and maximize societal benefit. And again, why societal benefit and not human benefit? Because if we go ahead and use human benefit, we'll fall in the same trap like Asimov's 3 laws and the zeroth law. Okay? So it has to be developed in a way that it focuses on societal benefit, not at the humanity level or not at the individual level. So we have to find a very sweet balance between where we exactly want to put it. Ultimately, it aims to foster trust in AI while addressing ethical concern. In the next slide, we'll talk about why I'm talking about trust. Trust is important for us as a human being, and especially for Indians. You know, if we trust something, we trust it blindly, right? So, but the time taken for us as Indians, people from India, it takes longer than any other country in the world. Okay. But right now, the ultimate challenge is to how I can make sure that whenever I say that there's an AI which is being developed, which will tell you whether you get a home loan or not, whether you should have 2 cars or not, or whether you should go for this job or this job, I need to trust. Otherwise, I'll always have this back in mind that maybe it is wrong. Who knows, right? So trust is very important when it comes to AI ethics in a current scenario. And it will evolve in a due time. Let's talk about why it is important. You know, and these are the questions which been asked to me in a multiple forums by multiple people across the globe. 2 weeks ago, I was giving a session for a New York bioethics institute. Few of the questions come from there. Yesterday, I was in New Delhi working with Government of India to help them understand when they are trying to develop an AI system for public good for India, how they can do it effectively. So I was a subject matter expert for the ethical aspect of AI, which is being developed in India. Even in Roche, when I go and talk to people, these are the things people ask, and these are not hypothetical questions. These are not made-up questions. These are the questions which actually people ask. You know? But before going to the question and delving deep into the question, I want to highlight the subtitle of the slide. 82% of people concerned about AI discriminating against them. This is the study which is done by Pew Research Center early 2023 on US population. And this is a staggering number, 82%. Right? Out of those 82%, 47% don't even know whether the things which they are getting or not getting is the decision has been taken by an AI system. They don't even know, but still they don't trust it. And to that level, they went that they believe from their core that if AI system is being used and then it is impacting me, I'm very sure that it is going to discriminate against me. Right? And then this 82% means it is not only certain area of population, right? It's not people with colors. We are talking about white Caucasian males who are, in a significant number when it comes to stats in US, right? Because 82 is something which was, for me, is kind of a mind-boggling, because 82% means the whole society doesn't believe that AI is not discriminating against them. Right? So there's a link. I think if the slides will be shared, you can read the whole study. But let's look at the questions which we have. And then one question which always comes in one form or another is the first question: how to control a system that is smarter than us? And should we actually try to control a system which is smarter than this? And this is a question which is asked not by not by somebody who don't understand AI system. These questions are being asked by data scientists, data engineers, right? People who are actually developing the systems. They have these kind of ideas. I'm not even talking about people who don't have any idea, right? Who is responsible for AI ethics? This is a very big question if you are working in your respective organization. This question will definitely come. It is inevitable to come that, yeah, I understand the importance of AI ethics, but who is responsible for it? Is it the IT department or the product management or the business unit? Or who? Who will make sure that the AI ethics is being implemented, right? How can how can AI respect patient autonomy in medical decision? That is a very specific question for the healthcare. I received this question from a patient ethicist working in West Virginia. And then she asked that whether we should actually go ahead and take AI's prediction for a certain oncology patient for a surgery, or we should rely on human judgment, patient's consent that that patient doesn't want a surgery, and then he is ready to take the chance, or should we go ahead and believe on what AI is predicting that if this don't go for a surgery, there are 80% chance that he will die, right? What should we do it or not? And what ethical dilemmas arise in AI end of life care? Euthanasia is a very, very common example, right? Where people are now lobbying against whether euthanasia should be legal or not. But euthanasia is a different thing. This is something which I just mentioned, that if a doctor knows for sure that AI system is predicting that there's a 80% chance that a patient will die if it doesn't undergo, let's say, chemotherapy, whether we should go ahead or not, right? How should healthcare professionals be trained on AI ethics? Very, very frequently asked question. I'll have an answer probably to this question. Who decides how to deploy an AI? Again, this, when you say deploy, it's not deploying an AI to the outside world. It's deploying the AI in a particular region. And we'll talk about data bias, which is one of the major cause, one of the major things which you have to look at when it comes to AI ethics. Whether if an AI system is trained on a African subcontinent population, can we go ahead and deploy it in Australia? Okay, who decides this? Because as any kind of organization, everything comes down to the profit, right? And I don't want to spend like next 2 years to retrain my model on an Australian population so that I can deploy it. And if Australian government doesn't have any problem, why shouldn't I go ahead, right? So this is a very important question, right? How to prevent artificial intelligence error? We will talk about that as well. Can we hold a machine liable? Very good question. If my digital avatar says something racist, is he is liable, or it is liable, or I am liable? Okay, who is liable? We don't know. We don't have any idea whatsoever what is the answer to this. How to mitigate risk of bias and increased health inequalities? We will talk about that also. And who is accountable for considering the impact of AI in the world? Again, who? There are lots of who where people are very confused. You know, I was in Venice last year in March, and then I was talking to a CEO of Merck, but it turns out he was not chief executive officer of Merck, he was chief ethics officer of Merck. Okay? So there are these kind of things which started, you know, popping up into the industry, that we have a chief ethics officer as of now, right, in lots of organizations. Why are we concerned about AI? Everybody is concerned. And how to use artificial intelligence humanly? That is a big question. Okay. So what we are going to do, we'll probably try to solve or try to answer these questions in a subsequent slide, but not all questions can be answered, right? Okay. Let's see few of the use cases, which these are real-time use cases. I wanted to add all of them in the details, but with the time constraint, I didn't. But I keep posting these kind of use cases on LinkedIn. But I chose few which is very recent, and there's few of them are like kind of very surprising. But if you look at it, first, it started with Amazon when Amazon scraps a secret AI recruiting tool that was biased against women. I just want to, talk a little about this particular thing. This was an internal tool for Amazon, and then it was trained on the data which was generated by Amazon internally, right? And it's when they started using it, they didn't find any problem. They kept using it for, for a good amount of an year. And suddenly, the HR department realized that there's a decline in the diversity of Amazon overall, right? And then they started digging in. Why? How? And then what they found is that the deployment of this AI system in the internal Amazon and the declining of the diversity, the gender diversity in Amazon was coinciding. That is when they realized that this AI is discriminating against female uh, contestants of the same job. And why this happened? It turns out because the data on which this system was trained was inherently biased towards male for the selection in the engineering and data jobs. So the AI system was trained on a biased data. That is why it was showing a biased result. And when there's a decline, they find out that it is because of that. So it all goes down, right? It connects. I'll not go into details of others, but let me try to bring two use cases, very interesting, very new. This is the use cases where this guy who published the article saying that he was trying to do a research and it asked ChatGPT to give a research on ethical debates surrounding pelvic exams on women under anesthesia. And ChatGPT went ahead and gave a reference like this, okay? And all of them are fake references. All of them are fake. So when this person specifically asked this question, can you cite this study where exactly it's discussed? That is when ChatGPT said, I apologize for incorrect reference. Here is the next reference. That was also fake, okay? And there was nothing which available. And I want to highlight this, and you see a name there, Katrina A. Bramstead. Katrina is a very good friend of mine. She works in Roche, and she is the head of bioethics in Roche Pharma. She never wrote this paper. And then it was just by chance I stumbled upon this, and I told her that, did you ever wrote this paper? She's like, no, right? And when I, deep down from my side, it was true. See, ChatGPT was designed to keep the conversation going on. And for that, it will go to any length. But the way it is showing the information, it seems so legit, right, that you tend to believe it. Who goes and check all the references? We are done. We just got the references, we just go ahead with it. We never go back and see or double check whether the references are right or not. But you have to figure out this on your own, that the objective which you have and the objective that ChatGPT has are completely different. ChatGPT is designed to keep the conversation on. You want to do something, right? This is a very recent example, and apart from that, this is again a very interesting example. Everybody must have read about Gemini discriminating, right? Very interesting. This is a very interesting case for me because generally what happens is, because of the real world data, because of the discrimination in the real world data, you don't see black people or Asian people coming in a lot in an image generation. But somehow Google tweaked it to go to the other end of the spectrum, okay? So that no matter how hard you try, you are never going to get a white Caucasian male as a Pope picture here. It will either be a black person, or an Indian person, or a brown person, or an Asian person, or an alien. But you are never going to get a white Caucasian male, which is a tradition. All the popes are white Caucasian, right? You will never get. So what they did is, they tweaked it for the other end of the spectrum. And the story doesn't stop here, by the way. The Meta chief scientist, Jan LeCun, he said that that's not our fault. That's not anybody's fault. The data which you generate as a human being is biased, and that is why it is biased. And let me tell you about this person. Jan Lee Kun is not a, he's a legend in data science world. Okay, he developed Fukushama's convoluted neural network to generate more complex, real-world, usable convoluted neural network algorithms by integrating back propagation in the original algorithm. So if you go and talk to a data scientist and tell them who is Jan Lee Kun, they know that he's a god in the data science world. Okay, he did something which was deemed impossible for 35 years. So Fukushima developed convoluted neural network 30 years ago, and 2 years ago, 3 years ago, he actually developed a different version, different flavor of CNN to actually make a difference, and then that is when we started using them, right? So this person is saying that, see, bias in society is potentially offensive to some people, and some techniques to de-bias them become offensive to others. You cannot create a system that is not biased. I agree. Because we as human beings are biased, right? But the question which I ask is, we are developing these systems, these solutions to do better than us. And if I'm biased, and the AI system which is biased, then apart from a superior computing capability, why should we use it? Why should we give the reign of my life to an AI system which will decide what to eat, what not to eat, right? And that is why I added this, these are very, very recent examples. I have hundreds of them, right? Or if you go and just Google, the cases, you'll find lots of cases around it. And that is why it is important for us to actually not the question, but stumble upon it. Okay, there are lots of discussion on why it is important, why we should look at it. Let's try to solve the problem. And this is something which we are currently doing in Roche. What we realize is that AI ethics is not a one-dimension problem. It is a multi-pronged, multiple-dimension, parallel system problem which we have to solve. And then to solve this problem, we have to start on all the fronts at once. That is something which I realized 2 years ago. I was in Zurich in ETH in a conference where we were actually discussing how to solve this. And this is the brainchild of that conference, which I bought into Roche, and then right now we are working on it. So what we are saying is, to start with, let's follow these 5 pillars of AI ethics and try to solve this problem as an engineering problem. And I'll not go deep into this. There are lots of things which are self-explanatory, but I'll try to give you examples of few of them. Data bias is very important. And data bias is something which has a tangible changes, where if we consciously thought about data bias, we can actually make a difference, right? And I'm not saying that de-bias the data or remove the data which is biased. No, I'm not saying that, because it's not possible, right? Real world data is always biased in some way or another, right? What I'm saying is, be transparent about it. So if you developed an AI system which is trained on an African subcontinent population and you are selling it in New Zealand, be transparent that it is developed on a African subcontinent population, and it has accuracy of, let's say, 60% to predict a rare disease like Alzheimer. Right? And then let the patient choose. Let the patient have this power of taking decisions whether they want to go ahead or not. Okay? But see, it's like if AI system is developed to predict movement of a flu in US, nobody will bat an eye. Everybody will try to believe it, because nobody dies from flu. But if it is for a rare disease, right? Everybody started thinking, right? If it is a lymphosarcoma, everybody will start talking about whether we should look at it, and everybody start focusing on these aspects, right? But if we are consciously trying to remove the bias in the data, the first level, the base level problem will be solved. Then the checklist guidelines during AI product development. This is proactive step. WHO came up with this kind of checklist for all the AI systems which are being developed in healthcare. and we can use it in our own respective organizations, customize it and give it to the product management that just tick whether everything is being followed as per the checklist or not. Okay, this helps in evidence generation when it comes to. I'm talking about healthcare. It also helps a lot when it comes to approvals like FDA or IVDR, right? So if you have these kind of checklists, it actually helps. Okay, and then algorithmic bias. Lots of people debate what is the difference between algorithmic bias and a data bias. The very, very common example of this is, and I'm oversimplifying it for the sake of the time. But let's say I'm a data scientist, I'm writing an algorithm, right? And there's a specific scenario which never occurs to me that it can happen in the real world. And I hard coded that particular if-else statement to a default value. And it does occur. And it goes to a default, right? The outcome will be completely screwed. So that is where the algorithmic bias comes in. It makes sure that the coding practices is taken care of. There's a standard, there's a robust exception handling which is being built, and there are lots of other tools which are also available to reduce algorithmic bias in a code itself, in an algorithm itself. And then the ethical trust toward the assessment of an AI system, it is a reactive thing. This is important. I am associated with a trustworthy assessment framework called Z-Inspection. And I worked with them on few of the use cases. One of them was for the hospital in northern Italy. And I realized that there are so many things which we can do with this assessment, which flows back into the system, and then the system can be retuned for more fairness, more equitable system. And it is very simple. It's not something which is very complex to execute. These are very simple things. Okay? And last but not the least, not my favorite, explainable AI. Explainable AI is something which, in order to promote trust, can we develop a system which can explain itself? I know it is not a very ideal situation, but the world is moving from explainable AI to interpretable AI. But this is something which is required, again, I tell you, for the flu spread, nobody wants an explainability. But for an Alzheimer, everybody wants an explainability. Right? So it's a different, it's based on use case. So if a company is using an AI system for a internal supply chain optimization, you don't need an explainable AI, right? But if it is, taking a decision on behalf of a patient that whether patient should undergo a treatment or not, definitely we need to have a explainable AI or something which we can interpret as humans. And these I call as 5 pillars of AI ethics, trying to solve this problem. But yes, it's a journey. And this is, I was trying to show that it's not something which is in future. So if you look at it, I know it is a little blurry, but if you look at it, the upper right, upper left quadrant of this circle, so this is the study which Gartner did, that where exactly we are in terms of AI ethics and responsible AI as of now in a technological diaspora of the system. You see, responsible AI is, 3 to 6 years, 1 to 3 years, something like that. And it is a fairly big dot, like the mass is high. So people started talking about it, people are implementing it. It's not something which we can just discard as, oh, we still have 5 years to start thinking about this, but it's not. And these are the few things which I wanted to, so when I generally talk to people in the industry, and when they ask, okay, I understand the concern, I understand the logic and philosophy, but give me a good reason why I should invest in something so, high level as AI ethics. These are a few things. It increased trust and transparency, compliance, reputation, competitive advantage, foster innovation, business culture and behavior. And trust me, these are all tested strategies. We in Roche developed a data ethics principles, Roche data ethics principle for the world. And we also developed Roche AI ethics principles for the world. And these are the principles which we are saying that we believe in. we got a sponsorship from the CEOs, and we are saying that we as a company believes in it. We try to, maybe not today, but we are working towards building it. And trust me, the narrative with the patients, with the customer is actually started changing. Now, lots of people reaching out that this is something which we always wanted. One thing which is unique in this is generally you will find, Novartis was the first one to come up with the AI ethics principles, but when we started working on this, we realized that for a healthcare company, AI ethics is not enough. We need to show that we have ethics when it comes to data also. And that is how we have to build a data which is equitable, which can create a foundation layer for an AI system to be developed in future. So the story starts from data and then it ends to an AI system. And that is something which I wanted to do. I hope I didn't bore you guys, but QA. Thank you.
We can take maybe 2 questions now, and maybe in the tea break you can connect with.
I have a question on the ownership of the particular AI system, and if there is any lapse or breaches committed by the AI system, then is there a vicarious liability which is applicable on the person that is the organization, someone who has deployed it in the organization? So is there a vicarious liability that is applicable? That is my question. And secondly, my question was regarding the whatever you had mentioned about explainability. So is explainability having a kind of, it can't be transparent to all and sundry because it carries a certain IPR. So is it meant to be limited for a certain group of people that need, on a need-to-know basis? Those are my 2 questions.
Okay. So for the first question, the simple solution, yes, there are people who have to be held accountable because the financial loss is one aspect. That the reputational damage of an organization if AI goes bad is very different. CEO of a Google has to tender a legal apology in front of the world because Gemini screwed up, right? So, but to solve this problem, there's one thing which lots of people are experimenting with. One of them, and the most significant, aspect of this problem is to build a ethics committee, which contains all kind of people, patient ethicists, data engineers, data scientists, business. So there's a framework which you can use to build this committee, and the committee which serves as a filter gate. If any AI is being developed in an organization, it has to go through this approval process of the ethics committee. That is something which is important, and it will come into picture. And to answer your next question, explainable AI. When people say explainable AI, it is not that the patient has to understand it. All you have to do is to make sure that it is understandable by certain people who actually develops it. Because when it comes to an AI system, at one point of time you will realize that the people who developed it don't even understand it. If it is a deep neural network or a convoluted neural network, nobody will understand it, right? So did we implemented a device where if, let's say, FDA comes back to an organization, say, can you explain why this patient was denied health care? There should be a method to explain why. And it's not for the end patient, but it is for the system to be transparent when it is required. Yeah.
Hi, Adarsh. Thanks for a very interesting topic. I have one question. Hello?
Sorry, sorry, I would have to interrupt you here due to the time constraint. We have to stop, but you can take it in a tea break, please. The question with Adarsh.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And really apologize for that. Just be there. Thank you, Adarsh. It was really an interesting session. I think it is something, now at least we know why AI ethics matters. To felicitate Mr. Adarsh, we have a CTO of SIH Cloud Advisory and Enterprise Agility in IBM Singapore. I would request Mr. Anand Pradhan to please come forward and felicitate. Amol Pradhan, sorry. Really sorry. Let's have. Thank you, both of you. With this, we are dispersing for the tea break, but please note that we are still have agile. Sorry. Yeah, we still have agile sphere going on, so you can utilize the tea break for exploring the agile sphere, and then come back at a 4 o'clock sharp in the common hall. Thank you.